Oh yeah. Oh man. Oh man, I didn't succeed. Okay. I think I'm playing Loris Lessig. I don't know which faction I'm playing him with. I gave the links out to the playlist to several people in high places. And I'm not really that cognizant of what the fuck I'm doing right now. I don't know if I woke up or what just is going on. Oh, hey kid, what the hey kid is saying there is I didn't do any expeditions, which I would like to. If I had the resource to do the expeditions, I don't have any resource. I have 50. That'd buy me a heavy. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to. What is it? So what I want to do with it. I want to buy some low income housing. Mm-hmm. So what you just experienced there is that I just dozed off, and the reason why is because I don't really get any sleep. Big deal. Um, it isn't a big deal to me because I've never gotten like really good sleep in the last 20 years. I don't know why. I know to some degree it has to do with sleep apnea. To some degree it has to do with that I really don't care about sleeping that much. But I have enough of sleep deprivation that some of the things I experience is actually standing, and then having a micro dream, and then trying to catch myself from falling. I do that from time to time. Other things are sitting there eating something, then waking up with my face planted in the bowl of milk and crap everywhere. Um, it comes in all sorts of forms, and in every case, no matter how much sleep I have, I am content with getting into this game and playing it. And if I'm pass out in the game and I happen to be on mic and people are listening to me, which hasn't been in years. I don't do it that way anymore. Um, they they laugh. They'll wake me up and they'll say, "Do you're snoring," and then they make a big deal of it. It's like, you were snoring. You were on mic snoring. Everybody saw you snore. Um, it's kind of like, okay, so big deal. What? They would. That's the thing about games is that people have more to find fault in you than to find anything good in you. And that just, I mean, in a video game like this, considered to be one of the most heated games, I mean, it makes football and baseball and all that crap look like tiddlywinks. This game does. Not in the sense that you don't really put enough of your physical self into it. I mean, that you put enough of your physical self in it, because you don't. What it does is it's the amount of complexity that's involved. That if you had an audience, nobody would ever be able to figure out where you stood with respect to winning or losing, or what you were doing was helping at all. Um, they wouldn't be able to figure out where you were going, what you were doing, why you were doing, all that kind of stuff. And the reason why is that it takes 2 to 3 years, even 4 years of playing this game to really understand what you're doing. The people who just got into the game using it, they make so many years. The people that usually leave the game are the ones that are so sick and tired of being killed all the time. The people who have been in it for 3 or 4 years have been through those years of being killed all the time, and came to the realization that you had to have strategy, and you had to know something about every part of the map to know where to go, what to do, and how to counter whatever was going on at any time in the game. And that is PlanetSide 2. Maybe I should call this the PlanetSide 2 introduction for noobs. I started in this game about 4 years, and the game I started on I think I might have started on a PC some when it first came out, but then I kind of let it go, and then I came back to it on the PC. Then I started experiencing some really strange stuff with my PC, that I would get these hackers. This guy would keep hacking my Windows machine. I could not figure out what was going on. I came to the realization that what was actually going on was that I had seen. I tend to be somebody who looks at pornography, and I tend to be a little bit experimental, and I'll go and explore. And I think I explored in the wrong kind of stuff, and you probably know what this is. Just to see if it exists, and I think the government took light of it and have been coming through a back door into Windows and installing software to see if I've been looking at it a lot. Okay? And they keep trying to catch it on my machine, is all I can imagine. And so I can't even use a Windows machine anymore, because every time I do, they keep hacking into my machine. So I use PS4, because they can't do it with the PS4, because Sony owns the source, and Sony is not going to allow our government to go through and eavesdrop on people. I also use Linux machines. If I look at porn, I only do it on Linux machines. I don't do it on Windows machines. So I will not use a Windows machine. It's my belief that the government uses it to eavesdrop on everybody. And the reason why is because the government has lost the capacity to eavesdrop on anybody, on anything, because of high bit encryption and other sorts of things. And the U.S. citizens look upon them to fix problems in our world that they can't possibly fix. But the thing is that they give them so much freedom, and the government thinks it's really great when they're able to nail criminals. I think we should move back on that, because the amount of terror that people feel it's controlling them, and that fear and that terror is going to rid them of their rights. It's going to rid them of their privacy, and the government's going to be involved in everything they do, in the same way that China is involved in everything people do by using AI to look at their faces, and to be in all of the taxi cabs, listening to everything they say, and anytime somebody says some cuss word, they get penalized or thrown in jail, which is exactly what's going on in China. We don't want that in America. So anyhow, when I started playing this game, I really started playing on the PS4, and it was because I couldn't play it on the PC. And the thing that I liked about the PS4 version in the beginning was that the audio worked and you could talk to people. And you could have good discussions with people. And they even had, if you were a squad leader in a, if you were leading a squad of people, you could hear what's called squad chat, and you could talk to other leaders that were in the game and sit there and share with them. Could you guys? We need to go over here and do this because they're going because the VS or TR, one of these other guys are coming to get this base over here, and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll send some guys over there to do this. Hey, how could you like come over and like help us out with this?" And it's super cool. Not only did they have, and I think they still have it, so they have a squad chat. They have, I mean, they have, it's called command chat. So you can talk to the people that are commanding or leading squads. You can have a platoon and talk among your platoon. You can have squads and talk among your squads. And then the squads can each have their own chat, and the platoon leader can talk among the squads. And then on top of that, I think there's even another level of chat. Then they have Sony Party Chat. So you could be in Sony Party Chat, but you can't use the other chats with that. And this is all VoIP, all voice over IP. This game has it. Then you have text chat. And when I use text chat, people really hate me because I type really fast and a lot. And people are always saying to me all the time, STFU, which means shut the fuck up. It's like, dude, can you like shut the fuck up? Because you're really, putting a lot of crap up there. Nobody wants to read. The people that usually say that are about the 10% who really care about people just ruining it for everybody. But the thing they don't do is they always think that the other 90% are like them. So it's like Donald Trump projecting his perception on everybody else and saying everybody's like him, which is not the truth. You never collect the votes from the 90% to say what to validate the 10%. If people are really like that, then they would chime in and say, yeah, we don't, and it would more validate the 10, and it would show there's a 20 or 30%. But it's never that way. It's always the 10% that really complain and the 90% that really just don't care all that much about anything one way or another. I mean, they care about... And the thing I found is I got a group of people that really like the things I have to say. And I am very deep, and I am very philosophical, and I have ideas and ways of looking at things that nobody has, I believe, in the entire globe. And there are people that told me that, why don't you write books? And I said, well, part of the problem is that when I read books, it put me to sleep. So even I, by that own idea of that Jesus says to treat others as you have them treat you, in that respect, I wouldn't write a book because I couldn't read a book myself and actually collect the information. So what's the best way for me to pass that information to other people? By audio or by text inside of a video game piecemeal, and while you're having fun, you get to read the text, and every now and then you get the people that says STFU, and I say, dude, you realize you can put /ignore ad my name, and you will not see any of my tweets into the game. And then the politics of that shifts, because then you start to realize that the reason why they're saying it isn't to try to get me to shut up for them. It's to get me to shut up for everybody, because they're projecting their perception of what I'm saying on everybody and making other people who's not talking up making their decisions for them, and by telling everybody that nobody cares about what you have to say. See? And that's the problem we're facing in society, is that there's a 90% group that never says anything. And it's possible. It may be because of politics. It may be because of social stress. It may be any number of things. And I challenge that. And when I get somebody that comes up there and I say, dude, you realize, you probably don't know this, but there are 70% of people out there that either don't care or are laughing at you right now by all this text you're putting up, and you got nothing of value to add to the discussion. You're very shallow. You're heckling me, and you don't offer any informative rebuke. And they just keep at it, and they're just like, we don't care, and you're a complete idiot, and you're into anime porn and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you're into character assassination. You're trying to eliminate me by very shallow means, and it's not working, and it's never going to work, and you're never going to get anywhere with it. And I keep doing this. And they said, well, they're going to ban you. And I said, they've banned me before for other reasons, but they're not going to ban me for using the text this way. The people that make the game don't care enough about it to like actually moderate it. Get it through your head. You're not going to get anywhere with this. And so I just keep pushing it, and I keep pushing it, and I keep pushing it. And I'm not being unreasonable. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out that in our world, when people want truth, they look for the truth in places where they expect to find it. They don't find truth where it hits them in the face. When truth hits them, they don't want it because they're not looking for it. You see? Truth hurts. Lies feel good. If you go looking for truth in places you expect to find it, you're not going to find truth. You're going to find lies. They're going to validate your perception, and they're going to perpetuate you into doing the same stupid shit that everybody else is doing in that light. It's going to support your worldview. You're going to keep watching it, and you never cause to wonder why it is that so many people watch it, if it's the truth or if that everybody likes to hear lies. And it's really funny. I mean, they don't really do research. They really don't look into it. They don't know. The conservatives do not understand that the liberals are on the same page, that they want the corporations to not be controlling our democracy, you know. But the conservatives think that if we weren't fully into Trump, we could have fixed. If we were fully into Trump, if we were all fully into Trump, Trump would have helped us fix the democracy. The thing that was stupid about it is that they made the assumption that Trump, since he had his money, would have used that power to fix the government, because he wouldn't be influenced by big money from other people, which is none the such. When people were asking him for his taxes to see what was, or his financial records to see what was going on with him in his life, he wouldn't do it because he was afraid people would find out he was evading taxes because he had hit bankruptcies that were giving him tax exempt status. So he was kind of evading taxes in a way. He had $100 million of $100 million of debt. And the only money that he was getting was from Trump Towers. And these are things that he was holding, against our knowledge. And the conservatives were so into him because they were making the Christian assumption that a man who has good fruits is a good man. And to them, it was the monetary fruits, the stuff that he earned, that God bestowed on him blessings of money. And the truth of the matter is, the guy is a real dirtbag. And I mean, and then they say, well, you shouldn't judge him, you know. But yes, you do. If you want to decide whether or not you want to be with this guy, you need to look at his fruits, and if his fruits are bad, then the man is bad. I'm a perfect example of possibly you should maybe think of me differently, because I will be willing to say that I'm a bad person, but then if you go look at my fruits, am I a bad person? Do I have bad fruits? I think if you dig into what I've created, you might find out I'm a good person. I'm not going to say I'm a good person. I'm not going to say I'm a bad person. I'm going to say I'm different. I'm unique, and I have a different perspective. And if you keep pursuing this idea that there's something wrong with me, you're going to find fault in me, just as the Jews found fault in Jesus. What the Jews realized is that Jesus was not going to overthrow the Roman government. That was what they were wanting him to do. They were wanting him to raise in power and be the leader they wanted him to be. He didn't want to be that because he wasn't there for that. That wasn't his mission here. His mission here was to die and to save the people from their sins, and give people a pathway to good behavior and to being good people and to having a good life, apart from all of the politics and the stress and the stuff in the world that drives you into the ground. To give you a good life, because prayer causes you to lose your stress. It drops your regret, and you're able to focus in on having a good life. But he's not going to go through and say that explicitly, that this, and this. That's the philosophical side of it. The more religious end of it is that the Holy Spirit comes into you and helps you. And I get that feeling a little bit myself. I tell people that I'm a demon that gets angel possessed. And some people say that you're demon possessed. I think on Sundays like today, I'll get angel possessed. And the angel will jump into me and start saying stuff. And I'll be like, where did that come from? And then like tomorrow I'll look back to today and I'll be like, how did I do all of that? Truth. It's really what happens. And I personally believe that I will never be an evangelist. I don't want to be an evangelist. I don't want to take money from people. I don't want to take the money and put it into charities. If I was to have a church, this is my idea of the best church. People would put a collection plate around. All the money would be collected, and then it would be pooled and then distributed to all the people equally in the church to go out and use however they need fit for themselves, for their friends, or for the bum on the street. See, that way I've completely dissipated. I've dissolved the concern of where the money's going to, because then people in the church are not concerned about where the money was going, which charities I was putting it into. What I was doing was I was pooling it. I was doing the commune thing that was of the original church. You pool the resources, then you take the resources and you apply them equally to everybody by giving people back the normalized value of money that came from the church. And so there will be more people in that church because they'll be there for the handout, because they may not have any money themselves, or maybe it may inspire them to give money. There'll be people there saying, well, you're just doing socialism. You're taking money away from the rich and giving it to the poor. And I say, damn right I am. And then those people say, oh, that's a crime. And I said, it isn't a crime. It's a different way of doing things. And the only reason why you say shit like that is the same reason that Judas Iscariot said it to Jesus. He said, why don't you take this stuff, that this incense, this myrrh and stuff, that this I forgot what it was, that the lady who put it in her hair and wiped it on Jesus's face and had her tears and all that stuff. And Jesus was saying, why let her do this when that oil that she was using on your feet could have been used, it could have been sold, and the money could have been used to go to the poor. And Jesus says, can't you see she's done a really beautiful thing? You will always have the poor, but you won't always have me. And he knew in the back of his mind that Judas was all the time. He didn't care about the poor. He was dipping into the treasury, the money that was in the treasury, and using it on himself. Jesus knew this, but rather than say, Judas, you're a thief, he gave him another example of why you need to let people do beautiful things that might use up money. But that was just for him, because Jesus, whenever I think it was, he said that to die for your friends is the ultimate form of honor. That may have come from the Old Testament. I think that was a reference to Jesus, because he was going to go on the cross and lay out his life, and his blood was going to clean everybody. Okay, that was his sacrifice. His sacrifice was an example of that, and it's a martyrdom is what he's exhibiting. It isn't being a soldier in a war, which is the way our government uses it to us to try to make us feel good about wars, because Jesus didn't feel good about wars. He told Peter, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword, which means that if you solve problems by simple methods like surgery or killing people, by what you think is going to solve the problem through violence, you are going to not see the light of day to see the solution, the ending solution of that. And it may be that your choice of solving the problem isn't going to result in what you wanted to, and you ended up wasting your life on something that wasn't going to get fixed with violence. The best way to fix such situations is with peace, is with negotiations, it's with peaceful protest, it's with policemen that are not eager to find fault in the people to satisfy the people who are eager to find that there's going to be a terrible uproar and look into the police to fix these people who are protesting, and the reason why they're doing all that is because they're afraid that the people protesting have a point. So I go all over the place, and when I talk, people listen. And I've had people say, "You're racist." And I said, "Okay, how am I racist?" And in some cases, I'll actually pretend to be racist. I'll being a white person, I'll say, and all you honkies out there, and all you crackers out there, and they'll say you're a racist. I said, I'm a white person calling my own race by its own racism, and then I'll say I side with black people, and I'll say I'm a white person, and it says, and you're black inside, and then I'll follow it with, yes, I'm black inside. I identify with the people of color who this culture ruins. That the policemen will come out and chase down black people just because they know that the white people who are eager to find fault in that the criminals must be black, that a black criminal is more understandable than a white criminal. That's the reason why the policemen have a tendency to chase down colored people for crimes, is because they know that if they can get somebody like that, and then you think, why do the police do this? And I give you an example. The policemen will hire psychopaths, because psychopaths are really good at tracking down criminals and when they get in a really bad situation, they can handle it really well because they don't have any emotion. That just like the guy who killed George Floyd, he didn't have any emotion. He was going by a process. He wasn't concerned about the person he was kneeling down on. He didn't think that he was killing him actually. He's just used to the idea that these guys tend to scream whenever he does this process, but he knows that this sort of action doesn't really kill people. He wasn't concerned. He was thinking he was controlling the situation. If you look in the guy's past, he has tax evasion. People say he's racist. I say he's a superset of that. He is a psychopath. What a psychopath is a person who has the inability to identify with anybody but themselves. A racist is somebody who has the inability to identify with any other race than their own race. I am not a racist. I try to identify with psychopaths. That's a good idea that I'm not a racist. Is that I would have the need and the desire to try to understand psychopaths who are not like me in any way. Because I am very empathetic. I cry in movies like Rocket Man. And what makes me cry is whenever Elton John's sitting down before his father, and his father won't even recognize that he's his son, that Elton is his son, and that Elton wants love, and his father will not even acknowledge him as being worthy of love. Because his father is still stuck on the idea that I can't really love somebody who's gay, which is kind of probably lurking in the back of his mind, and Elton's wanting acceptance for just at least being the bloodline of this man that's sitting before him that will not even recognize him. And it's stuff like that that just makes me break down and cry. And I would cry if I wasn't like so heated in what I'm talking about now. So, and if you listen through my talks, you can take bits and pieces of any other talk and put them in any other talk, and you can swap them. I pretty much repeat the same things over and over again, but there are times whenever I say things that are profound. And, and there are people that like to hear it, and there are people that don't like to hear it. People that don't like to hear about it, I would say, are either really annoyed by hearing a lot of it, or annoyed by the tone of the discussion, that it doesn't sound. I mean, if it was so heated, it probably is not true. It could be from a number of other places. There are people that I believe do it because they don't want me to have the upper hand. They don't want me to have meaning. They don't want people to take that I'm actually telling the truth. Those people that don't want people having truth. They do exist, yeah. They want everybody to be confused. Because if you're confused, and if you're a psychopath, and your audience, and someone's audience is confused, it makes it so easy for you to manipulate that audience, and you get a certain glee when you're able to control them and juxtapose them towards you and make you the center of all things that are bad. And then it validates their ability to control and manipulate people. They're like the ultimate trolls. And anytime I get either a psychopath that is really bent on that sort of thing, or I get somebody who is a troll, and what I call a troll is somebody who tries to control others, which I consider to be evil. I consider two things to be evil. The acquiring money and then not using it to benefit people. And so stealing money from people and using it to benefit yourself mostly and nobody else. Acquiring power and using it to benefit yourself and nobody else, to drive other people's lives into the ground, I consider to be evil. I consider technology that uses you to be evil than technology that benefits you. And the technology that benefits you are games like this that give you something to do, or our meditation, they give you something to meditate on. So like VR environments like Monarch butterflies flying over you, which I've got assigned. I bought 3 VR180 domains: VR180.us, VR180.rocks, and VR180. I think it's either info or org. I think it's org. VR180.org, VR180.us, and VR180.rocks. And VR180.rocks points to the Cirque du Soleil VR180 VR360 experiences on YouTube, that kind of puts you at the center of a circus act. Rather than being on the side looking at the circus act, you're the center of attention, which is what VR360 is like in a video format. And they use it in pornography too, to make you feel like you're with women. You're among women. It's like you're in the center of a bunch of strippers, and they're all there for you, and you're the center of attention. and is the reason why it's so effective. And I think it's a step beyond porn because it has other potential things like therapy of being able. Some people use VR for public speaking to put you in front of a crowd of people that have various different expressions on their face and can't possibly be listening to you because it's a movie, but it puts you up there and you feel like you're in front of a group of people. You see them in 3D, you can see stuff on the side, there's a light shining in your face. You might not be able to see the people in the audience, they'll have different situations. You can put people through all the public speaking without actually putting them in front of public. It would be a nice first step. That can be done with VR180. VR180.us points to let's see, Rocks points to the Cirque du Soleil. Org points to Monarch butterflies. 3D experience of monarch butterflies flying over you. And the reason why I'm moving my controller from time to time is because if I don't move this controller, then it will kick me out of the game, so I have to do stuff. But VR.org points to monarch butterflies flying over you, and I've actually downloaded the video and looped it so that I could have the experience of, like, say, an hour's worth of monarch butterflies flying over me. Okay, it's a meditative experience. I can sit there and meditate and just feel the warmth of the Mexico sun on me in my mind and see butterflies flying past my face in 3D. Now, whoever made that video, I keep thinking to myself that guy left that camera there for 2 or 3 hours, took the video, put it into an application, sold it on the Oculus website for $5-10. The guy would be super rich by now because there would be so many people using it for meditation. I just don't understand why I don't see it. The only thing I can imagine is that the world that I'm in right now is a test, and it isn't real. That none of you are real, and it's probably the reason why I don't get any viewership. And I also get signs from the devil that keep saying I'm in hell, and I don't want to believe that. I think once I die, I'll get to the bottom of this and figure out why I don't have the viewership, and I'll figure out that I'm in a Job state. I'm being tested, and there are angels out there that come in every now and then will actually inspire me and say I'm doing okay, and whenever they hear this from me now, then they're just I'm sure they're just freaked out because, like, wow, he is outside of the box. He's gone the metaphysical step above the physical. He's out of it, and he's already thinking outside of it. I can even tell when Satan's talking to me. That's how literal. There are times whenever I can say, oh yeah, that's Satan. That's obviously Satan talking there. Satan will throw me a symbol. But if Satan really needs to push something through, and God will let him, one example was that whenever I was begging for Kroger, I had this idea that I would take all the small carts and put them on the left side of the store, and then the wide area of the store where people come through, all the rich people come through, I would not let them have small carts on that side of the store to teach them a lesson, because the rich people would come in, they'd look around as if they didn't see any small carts. They made a big deal of it, look around. Why don't I see any small carts in here? I said, it's because they're on the other side of the store. Why didn't you bring them down here? And I said, I just ended up on that side of the store. And it says, darn it! And then they go and they take a big cart and they go through the store, and I'm just like, so you're a rich person, you're so freaking lazy, you won't go to the other side of the store to get the small carts? They might ask me, so why do you put the small carts on that side? Because you're going through the side of the store that has the bakery and the deli and all the food stuff. You're going to buy lots of food. If you want to buy lots of food, get a big cart and fill that. If you get a small cart, you're going to come through after buying all that stuff, and you're going to say, man, look at all the stuff that I bought. And I only came in for a few items. And they'll say, oh, what are you trying to do there? And Satan came through and said that through somebody to me. And so, and this idea that seems kind of like really out there. So it's a Pavlovian thing. I'm trying to get them to realize that the area that you need to go in through to the store is on the left side where the small carts are, where there is less things that are going to cause you to want to buy lots of food, that you're going through the store that isn't going to get your juices flowing and make you want to buy stuff. And I've told people from time to time in devil's advocate style, if you really want to buy, if Kroger really wants people to buy lots of food, it's very simple. All you do is put a high fructose corn syrup soda can machine in the lobby, in each lobby, and when people get their soda there, drink it down, it will spike their blood sugar and it'll make them buy everything in the store. But they removed those machines from the front of the store. Probably it was the government realizing that this was the case and saying you shouldn't do it. We can't have that anymore. We can't have children getting sodas from those machines because it's unhealthy. But also realizing that people would buy everything out of the store. That it was, it was unfair, an unfair tactic. I don't know, but that's something I know, and that's the thing. That's the kind of person I am, to work as a bagger after having a computer science degree and a minor in art, and knowing that working as a bagger, I'm not going to make a living wage. But in that position, because I got to get out of the house, I can't be sitting in the house doing nothing, which is kind of what I'm doing now. But to some degree, I go out and I work out. I go and walk around the block. Haven't been doing that much this week. But we have been working on leaves. I started working around with an electric mower called an Ego mower. And my opinion of the Ego mower is that mower is pretty much going to ruin the entire gas industry, the oil industry, and it's going to get us using electric devices, and I'm all for it. It's going to get rid of parts industries, because the whole parts industries exist because of oil, gas-powered stuff. Because of the inefficiency by which those things work, they require so many parts. And everybody in computer science knows that when you have moving parts in anything, it causes the things to break down a lot more, and that is printers. Printers have lots of moving parts, and so printers tend to turn into crap earlier because of the moving parts. When they have less moving parts, like say with memory, they last a lot longer. Electric mowers don't have a whole lot of moving parts. They don't have a lot of parts to begin with, because how an electric motor works is very simple, that any kid could understand it. You just use magnets and you use an alternating current, and it makes the rod go around and around and around, and with that you can slice stuff, and motivate stuff. I mean, if a kid can, if you can teach a kid how an electric motor works at the age of 6 or 7, by just pointing out that it's like their little toy motor car, it's the same thing, it's just scaled up, then then it's easier for them to jump on that bandwagon. But for gas powered and oil powered, you have to understand about combustion. You have to understand about what the engine is doing by getting rid of the exhaust. Then you have to talk about what you do with the exhaust, how you filter it out, and where all the fluorocarbons and all that stuff, where all that stuff that goes into the atmosphere, where does that go? It ruins the ozone layer. Then you can understand why corporations would have reason to try to quiet people about global warming. To say that it's non-existent is to permit them to keep doing the same shit over and over again that's going to ruin the planet. And then our president will go and discuss with leaders about things, and then our president, if he says, I don't believe in global warming, and the other guys do, and they're going to negotiate things, what are the other people going to think? They think, this guy doesn't acknowledge the things that we are concerned about. We're not going to negotiate shit with them. So we don't get The kind of shit that we want done in the world because the rest of the world is concerned about things we're not concerned about. Because we're not willing to negotiate. See how I screw with people? It's a different kind of screwing. It's getting them to think. It's stimulating their minds in places that don't get stimulated because there are people that are so eager to make money that they don't think anymore. So anyhow, I'm going to stop this.